All right, what is happening, all you JEFFERSCRAFTers out there? Man, it is good to be back with you guys. So, I'm gonna be doing another reaction video, but this isn't just any reaction video, man. This is the Ultimate Survival World episode 10. He is nearly at an end where we can download this world and play on this awesome creation of his. So I can't wait. I haven't watched this with you. I can't wait to watch it with you guys. Enjoy this experience together. Let's get into it. What do you say? All right, you guys, man, I have been waiting and waiting for this. This isn't quite the end. I don't think he's still gonna revamp the nether and the end dimensions, but as far as the overworld, this is it, and this is the last one. And I've been seeing some posts he's been doing of it. Of course, I'm talking about TrixyBlox. In case you didn't know, this is his Ultimate Survival World. He's been working on this wonderful creation, and if you've been following along, I've reacted to each one of these parts of his creation here, and I cannot wait to play this. I mean, I don't even know how to emphasize this enough. I cannot wait to play this. I'm going to be doing a series on this of my own on my channel. I'm going to download it, and I'm going to, you know, just enjoy this whole experience, and hopefully you guys will come along with me. And don't forget, or don't hesitate to like and subscribe and write a comment to me. It really helps the channel, and I appreciate it so much if you enjoy this kind of content. I do Minecraft content of all kinds. And also go check out my Rave SMP. It's an SMP that was started by another YouTuber, and I took it over. Still have about 7 members at the moment. We're looking for more, so come join us. Enjoy us playing. It's a medieval type world, role play, all kinds of great stuff, lore, a storyline to go along with it. So check that out. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to watch this together. I have not seen this yet, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's coming to a close, you guys. I cannot wait. So enough of me talking. Let's watch this. Let's see this. Let's see what amazing things lie ahead of us. All right, here we go.
I've spent 5,000 hours transforming every overworld Minecraft biome to create the ultimate survival world. This huge project is finally drawing to a close, and I'm excited to announce that the map download is coming this October. We have tackled some crazy transformations, built in a variety of styles, and been on some insane adventures along the way. Last episode, we transformed the tiger into an epic Viking-inspired mountainscape, and yes, guys.
Okay, so hold on. I'm sorry to interrupt him, but I just wanted to reiterate what he just said. I mean, because I'm just so excited. Did you hear that? The map download on his Patreon coming in October. It's coming so soon, like a month away. Ooh, so exciting. All right, let's continue on.
Guys, you can actually blow this horn in game.
That's amazing, dude. I loved it.
We've been working hard on loads of added bonuses, including a custom achievement system, a giant treasure hunt spanning across the entire island, and fun side quests to give you guys a challenge too. With just the snowy mountains, plus some minor nether and end upgrades left, we're hitting the slopes to officially complete the overworld island. And we're going out with a bang. Now please hit that subscribe button to keep up to date with this project and future projects.
Hell yeah.
Across the USW, we've taken inspiration from nearly every continent in the world, but we haven't yet built anything inspired by Asia. So I listened to your feedback, and we're definitely going to include some Asian inspirations in this biome. First off, we need to do some serious terraforming to our mountainscape. Then we'll be creating a new area known as Mammoth's Pass, a vast valley containing giant mammoth remains and a revamp of Minecraft's Icy Spikes biome. We've then got to transform our snowy mountain village into a shiny new igloo village, packed with dog sleds, fishing holes, and more. As an added bonus for this final overworld biome, we're also going to build some secret lore-related areas, including a magical ice forge and the cave of the elusive Yeti. After that, we're going to be including a massive upgrade for this biome's place of worship, a monastery-inspired complex, only accessible by a perilous mountain path, winding under waterfalls, and bridging across the hands of a gigantic statue. And finally, we'll finish up with a crazy area inspired by Eastern Asia, hidden in the mountains, including a lush bonsai village and panda haven, a dragon samurai temple, along with another dragon arena, the sister to the tiger's dragon arena, with of course some overlapping lore. Before we start on this crazy...
This is going to be a fun-filled episode. I'm already seeing it. Look at all that stuff, that list of things that he's going to show us right now. All right.
To revamp the environment, I painted our world painter mountainscape and turned it all to stones
beautiful
that I could have
mountains
a clean
already
slate to work with. I then had lots of fun with the GoBrush plugin to tweak and exaggerate our mountain peaks. You might also spot me setting the foundations for some of the builds we'll be working on later in the video.
Oh, he's so good at that, man.
I finished up the shaping with a little smoothing. This biome is honestly gigantic, and with all these large edits, it took days just to get this few seconds worth of footage you're watching right now.
Dang.
It was then time for the fun part, laying down the new snow
looking.
all the way from the taiga border to the dark forest border. Some of you guys have asked how survival friendly these mountains will be. Well, thanks to this smooth snow, the mountains are actually pretty easy to traverse, so no need to worry about your hands cramping up from constantly hitting the spacebar. After laying the snow, I fixed up all the biome borders. Obviously, this isn't meant to be totally seamless because that's not how I've designed the map, but I made sure the transition isn't too jarring either.
That's cool.
And to finish up our new mountains, I painted the rock beneath to add a bit of a gradient and make things feel even more realistic. I went for this 5-block gradient which goes from cobblestone to grey concrete, and I think it adds so much dimension to the mountain peaks. Honestly, guys, I'm so happy with how these mountains turned out. I think they look much better than the old mountains
they look amazing,
I made in World
man.
Painter back when I first made the island, and they're far more suited for survival adventures. I love the results so much that I even revisited the mountains from the Woodland Mansion from earlier in the project and gave them a revamp. I'll admit I kind of rushed them before and definitely saw room for improvement. So this is how they look now. Turning back to the snowy mountains, I tidied up the coastline, adding some glaciers and drifting snow to cleanly transition into the oceans biome surrounding the island. And moving on to a very special area of this map, known as Mammoth's Pass, I wanted to add something a little different to just trees and boulders to decorate this biome. So, as an extra little biome transformation, I decided to take Vanilla Minecraft's Icy Spikes biome and create my own version through this epic valley.
Yeah, I love it, man.
As well as the spikes, I also added several custom ice lakes through the mountains. So be sure to pack your skates when you head to this biome, and make sure you're on the lookout for hidden achievements.
Oh, cool. He's got an achievement system. That's right.
And to wrap up our work on the environment, I spent a long time making some final tweaks to our main building areas. This includes adding further ice lakes, rivers, and waterfalls to bring our giant mountainscape to life and ultimately make the builds feel as immersive as possible when you guys go exploring. Our good friend Godair even helped us add insane details to the environment features. Every single waterfall in the map has its own sound effects and particle effects, so coming across these in survival is super atmospheric.
That is cool, man. Nice.
As always, there's hours upon hours of behind the scenes tidying up to do. Tons of unseen work goes into making sure that the biomes blend nicely, and taking the time to fix up and decorate less obvious areas that would probably be ignored in a creative build, but might mess with your experience and immersion when playing in survival. And finally, the environment is done. You can really see just how much space we have to work with now. So let's get building some structures. Now it's time to head over to Mammoth's Pass and plan what we're going to be adding to this massive mountain valley. The Igloo village is the main feature of Mammoth's Pass, so we're going to start by building some igloos and cabins for our villagers to live in. Then I'm going to make some mammoth remains to scatter through the giant valley and create plenty of decorations to bring the camp to life, including dog sleds and campfires. I'll also be creating some watchtowers and a front wall to protect the camp. So let's get into it.
Can't wait,
As you can see, I've got our vanilla snowy mountain village here, and I'm laying it out in a line so I can tackle each building and decoration individually to create a pretty true to vanilla. So cool
how he does this, you know?
A lot of the later building is going to be more expansive.
Okay, sorry. I know I say this all the time, but it's just so cool how he does this kind of stuff. He almost like a painter, you know? He paints the landscape and then he takes the structures and puts them on like a raised palette or a raised, I don't know, workstation, you could call it. And then he creates these structures like out of, you know, the vanilla and just makes it into something great. It's just so cool how he does this. I love to watch the process, you know. Let me know, guys. What about you? Do you like to watch the process that goes into this kind of stuff? I mean, it's so much work, but it's so amazing, you know? All right, so let's get back to it.
And I wanted to strike the balance between accurate and epic for this final overworld biome, so we've got the best of both. As the centerpiece of the village, I built a large, cozy log cabin for our villagers to gather in. I really wanted to make use of Minecraft's snow for this design to create an interesting, sloping rooftop. I then finished up with a basic banner pattern, the emblem of the Igloo clan, who live in this village, along with the fabled protector of the USW. Anyway, for the next cabin, I again tried to recreate the shape of the vanilla house, which you can briefly spot behind. I really love this style, and the snowy rooftops make it all feel so cozy.
On a diagonal.
I then got to work on revamping Minecraft's igloos, taking some inspiration from traditional Inuit housing, which includes both igloos and houses made from whalebone and animal hide. I even included some additional features for each house. This one has a rack for hanging hide. There is a really limited supply of wood in our snowy mountains, so I wanted to create a nice variety of alternate housing for our Igloo clan villagers. For this igloo, I incorporated some wood and tusk supports, added another hide rack, and even included a little dog sled. Since this is a fantasy village, I thought it'd be interesting to incorporate a chimney into an igloo design. After all, this villager won't want their furnace smoking up the place. For this igloo, I also included a drying rack for fish.
No, good idea.
It seems
with
that
the
this
chimney.
villager is the local chef. To wrap up the igloo designs, I built a couple that were partially sunken into the ground. And sticking with the theme, I kept the interiors relatively basic, elevating the sleeping areas since warmer air rises, and if you're going to live in a house made of snow, you'll need that extra warmth at night. Anyway, I then moved on to create a bone and hide tent. Now I'm not sure if this is one made with whale bones or mammoth tusks, so what do you reckon? Speaking of mammoth tusks, my next task was to create those giant mammoth remains I mentioned earlier.
Like
this valley
is
known as Mammoth's Pass after all.
Oh, and the head.
Funny thing about creating this skeleton
sweet.
was that a mammoth skull actually looks really strange. Obviously, a mammoth or elephant trunk isn't part of the skeleton. So instead, you're left with a huge opening at the front of the skull. With that little quirk in mind, I did the best that I could to imitate the skeletal anatomy on a pretty small scale, and I think it turned out awesome. It could even be a cool foundation for your own snowy mountain survival base. Wrapping up the igloo village, I created some watchtowers to guard the entrance, some campfires to keep our villagers nice and cozy, and some dog sleds for their fishing and hunting excursions.
Oh, that's cool.
Steph and I then started to place everything, starting with the watchtowers, a spiky front fence, and mammoth remains. We then dotted the buildings around, with our largest campfire sat in the center. In the real world, storytelling is a big part of Inuit culture. So as a fun little reference to that, the USW's Igloo clan also has its own myths and legends, which are told around the communal fire. One of its most famous legends is the tale of the Yeti, which is said to inhabit the mountains, gobbling up explorers and residing in a large cave. But the monster has never been found. I wonder if he'll be able to find his icy cavern and steal his dinner.
Looks like a gorilla.
Anyhow, monsters and legends aside, heading back to our igloo village, we carefully placed the remaining houses and decorations to finish up, and also added a second lore-related area hidden in the mountains. This magical ice forge was the birthplace of the island's most powerful weapon, the Sword of Akna. Disguising the weapon as a basic iron sword, the clan's enchantress Akna forged the most powerful sword in the land, entrusting it to her son, who would become the protector of the USW. Many a tale has been told about the protector and his adventures across the vast biomes of the island. And you may remember that his sword lies in the dark forest, encased in stone, awaiting a worthy adventurer to take up his mantle. And I hope you guys are up for the challenge. And without delving too deeply into the lore, that about wraps up our epic Mammoth's Pass Valley and the Igloo clan's cozy village.
Beautiful. Very nice, man. It's like perfect, you know?
Next up, we're heading over to the mountain peaks to plan the Tiger's Nest, a complex largely inspired by the Buddhist monasteries of Bhutan and Tibet. We're going to be adding a gigantic statue cradling a bridge to the entrance, accessible via a perilous mountain path adorned with large waterfalls. Then, for the structure itself, we're reimagining Minecraft's church as a large monastery-inspired complex, with intricate structures, a special hidden courtyard, and more. So, let's go. So for the island's final place of worship, we wanted to do something really special. As you guys know, we've been taking inspiration from many different religions to create fictional places of worship to transform Minecraft's vanilla church across the biomes of the island. For the snowy mountains, we had some ideas in mind about what kind of build we wanted to do, and researched different temples, monasteries, and more to select some inspiration. It was really hard to choose, and you all had so many lovely ideas. But in the end, we just had to opt for what we felt fit best with this biome. So we drew our inspiration from a Buddhist monastery monastery located in Bhutan, specifically Parataksang, also known as the Tiger's Nest. And as a nod to this inspiration,
awesome, man. This is gonna be so
nicknamed
cool.
our build the same. Ultimately, we just cannot include inspirations from every religion and culture in this survival map, but we'll definitely be including some more in our next one. So comment down below what you'd like to see. Anyhow, whilst I've been rambling, you can see this gigantic statue taking shape. Steph and I really wanted to combine our Buddhist inspirations with some epic fantasy elements, and I thought that it would be fun to make a statue that interacts with the world in a unique way. So we thought, why not have a huge statue carved from the mountains, cradling the only entrance to the Tiger's Nest. Involving organics in large builds like this is super fun, and even on a tough time limit, I love how this turned out with the shading and the draping cloth. And I think that it's time to connect it all up with that perilous path that I mentioned. So, the path begins at the foot of the mountain, with an arching stone bridge straddling the icy lakes below. Watch your step! I certainly wouldn't want to fall onto those giant ice spikes below. The path continues along the side of what is known as the Crying Mountain, under a huge waterfall, leading to a rickety wooden bridge, passing over another waterfall, and into the hands of our sacred bridge bearer, who grants adventurers safe passage to the Tiger's Nest, provided that they tread carefully, and they don't look down. That of course leads us to one of our biggest tasks for this biome, which, you guessed it, needs some planning with coloured wool. Steph and I spent absolutely ages plotting all of this out. We wanted it to be a really exciting place to explore, with lots of different levels and connecting bridges, rooms, and paths to get lost in. During this process, we did some research and decided on some of the purposes for each building. We planned to make monastic cell blocks, i.e. where our Minecraft monks will sleep, various temples, libraries, storage rooms, as well as a balneary for washing and a refectory for eating. Obviously, all of our work gets cut down massively for these videos, but as always, there's lots of cleaning up to do to make way for interiors and get the plan ready to transform into the final build. You guys would be amazed at all the extra time that we spend on tweaking things like this. These things are usually overlooked for creative builds, but making a fully functioning map is a lot of extra work. With the tidying done, after many more hours of pain, I swapped out the colours across the build so that I could paint a nice gradient for the walls. I then painted each section with a white gradient and worked on a rooftop design, incorporating some of Minecraft's 1.19 additions, mangrove wood and mud bricks. This colour palette is super unique and different to anything else that we've done in the USW so far. So, what do you guys think?
I think it's beautiful.
Moving on to detailing, I made some adjustments to the wall gradients and got to work on adding lots of intricate details to this build. My main inspiration, Parataksang, is packed with ornate, decorative detail, its walls lined with vibrant reds and golds, and each section looking unique to the last. So I tried my best to emulate these awesome features in my build, obviously with a more exaggerated fantasy twist, creating rickety walkways, ornate windows, mini mountainside temples, and much more to make this as fun to explore as possible.
Oh, it's gonna be so much fun too.
With the main detailing complete, I fixed up all of the courtyards, and decorated with wagons and some other little features, including a large hand washing basin outside the refectory. For the hidden courtyard at the back, we wanted to create a special sacred place, similar to the monuments and mantras carved into the stone hillsides of real-world Buddhist monasteries. Keeping with our Tiger's Nest theme, I whipped up a large tiger engraving in the courtyard, said to depict a manifestation of the monk's god, which guided their founder to safety during the War of the Dragons. But of course, that's a story for the JEFFERSCRAFT channel. Anyway, it's common for Buddhist monasteries to house many depictions of the Buddha, and in our fantasy religion, we thought that it'd be nice to do something similar. So I adapted our elemental totem statue from the ancient jungle city into something a little more fitting and added some of them around the hidden tiger engraving. As a further reference to our inspirations, I hung some prayer flags near the courtyard. Prayer flag colours typically represent different elements. Perhaps you guys could come up with 3 key elements of the Ultimate Survival World project for these colours to represent. We'll try to include the best ideas in the official backstory. And without giving too much away, Steph and I have included some really cool interiors for you guys to explore, just as we planned earlier in the video. There's a huge, grand temple in the middle of the complex with hanging drapes and vast ceilings, along with connecting libraries of sacred texts spanning across multiple floors. You can even explore the monk's maze of bedrooms, and much, much more.
Oh man, it's gonna be
I say it every time, but this place is gonna be
amazing.
insanely fun to explore. It's genuinely been a pleasure to draw inspiration from different cultures for places of worship throughout this project, and I can only hope that I've done them at least some justice, even with my fantasy creations. So here's to more of this in future projects. Last but not least, we're heading just over the mountain to a magical lush valley. Here, we're going to be creating a giant bonsai sanctuary hidden in the mountains, inspired by Kung Fu Panda, with those cascading waterfalls we made earlier, and a variety of houses and decorations inspired by Eastern Asia. We'll also be building a large dragon samurai temple, as well as a panda haven, since we didn't get the chance to add bamboo to the jungle. And finally, we'll be adding another dragon arena, similar to the one of the tiger, packed with backstory. We're really going all out for this final overworld area, so let's jump into it. Like always, I started with some planning using coloured wool to get a feel for the general layout of this epic mountain
he shows
village.
you every step of the way. I
then whipped up a variety of giant bonsai trees, which may just be my favourite trees that we've created in the USW. We wanted this area to be really unique and special, since it's our last build on the island, and these trees are definitely different to anything else that we've done in the other biomes. After creating a range of shapes and sizes, I shaded the trees with different wood variants, including birch and mangrove, ready to be placed around at the end. With our trees set aside for later, I began designing a fantasy temple known in USW lore as the Dragon Samurai Temple. The villagers who live at Bonsai Falls are known for their relationship with dragons, much like the Fafnir clan from the Tiger, but their approach to dragon training was far more peaceful, and this disparity led to the biggest conflict in the USW, the War of the Dragons. This temple was the birthplace of the Dragon Samurai, a group of fierce fighters and dragon trainers, the only to understand the importance of balance and honor in all things. This lore is obviously inspired by the Japanese samurai of our history, who may not have tamed dragons, but definitely influenced some of the characteristics of our fantasy race. Anyhow, I thought it'd be awesome to involve a dragon head into the design of this building. Plus it ties in with the lore really well. I used a dragon head that I'd built for an old Game of Thrones build, adding some flowing tendrils, and switching things to a more suitable colour palette. And I cannot wait for you to see this guy added to the temple. I set aside our dragon head and continued with the building. You can clearly see East Asian influences in each section of this building, and this is easily one of my favourite styles to build in. This style is so distinct, and one of my favourite elements is definitely the forms of lighting it incorporates. In both China and Japan, for example, lanterns are an iconic part of various traditions. From Japan's beautiful Toranagashi festival to commemorate the dead, to the Yuan Shao festival marking the end of the Chinese New Year. So for this build, I really wanted to incorporate some large lanterns into the structure itself, which also contained small memorial shrines as a nod to the traditions of the Toranagashi.
Banners, man.
These lanterns were inspired by some artwork from Jason Zhu. To finalise our Dragon Samurai Temple, I built a grand pillared entrance with a long stone staircase. I'm kind of envisioning Po from Kung Fu Panda clambering up all of those stairs to the Jade Palace, but I didn't quite go that crazy. With the grand entrance ready, I finally found the perfect place to set down the dragon head that I made earlier and wrap things up with some finishing touches.
Right on the roof.
With the Dragon Samurai Temple complete, I placed it down before moving on to the interior. In our last biome, we did something a little different for our Minecraft village bell upgrade, making a giant war horn for our Viking-inspired village. This time, I'm creating a large gong inside this temple, a means through which the Dragon Samurai are summoned. And you guessed it, you'll be able to interact with this in the map, but I'll leave that for you to play around with yourselves. For the rest of the interior, I kept the ceilings high and added rafters, as well as some secrets. So be on the lookout for hidden areas and test your ninja reflexes across the high beams. The Dragon Samurai Temple is a real spectacle, and it makes a great start to our bonsai village.
Beautiful.
Moving on to our village buildings, I kept the same colour palette and style as the temple and designed our first Talon Clan house. To add some variation, I made a stone foundation variant and a wood stilt variant, making these designs much more versatile. It can be used at ground level or elevated as a cliffside house.
Or over the
water. For the
water.
second house, I repurposed the first design and expanded upon it with a second level beneath. It was really fun to play around with elements like the hip and gable roof, which is essentially what you can see at the top of this house, and I got to experiment with mangrove wood in house designs for the first time. Again, I built a stilt version of the same design, and I love how dynamic these look. They're going to be great for exploring, and they of course all have interiors as well. And of course, this wouldn't be complete without a little pagoda-style house, so I quickly whipped up a small building with stacked eaves before moving on to the next house design. I gave this one a round door for some more variation, and it kind of reminds me of Pandaria from World of Warcraft. You may have also noticed I came up with a banner design for the clan, creating lanterns to decorate each house and tie everything together nicely. Now, since Bonsai Falls is full of waterfalls and rivers, it only makes sense to add some bridges, another structure that has a really distinct look across East Asia. For this bridge, I added a rooftop and went for a stacked fantasy style on either end, with lots of variation in height and shape. For the interiors of this bridge complex, it made sense to include some racks for hanging small fishing boats, as well as storage, and lots of other nooks and crannies for you to get lost in during your survival adventures.
Nice,
There
man.
are so many secrets hidden in these buildings and throughout the world, guys. I just can't wait for you to stumble across them for yourselves.
I cannot wait either, man.
To make sure everything is bustling and lively, I whipped up some decorations. A couple of wagons, a well, a stone lantern, and a Torii Gate inspired structure to place near our Dragon Samurai temple to mark the sacred grounds. And now, the fun part.
Here it goes.
Placing everything we created to fill this lush valley with life. Steph and I started with the large bridge, adding boats to the rivers before moving on to the main houses. We then whipped up another smaller bridge using those pagoda style buildings either side, with a classic red arching bridge sandwiched between them. We continued to scatter the buildings through the valley. It honestly took a really long time to get things right, and fixing up all of the scaffolding to make things survival friendly was pretty fiddly. But once that was all sorted, the best part by far was placing those giant bonsai trees we made earlier.
Looks so cool.
These gnarly trees look so cool in this setting,
right?
And making a wide variety of shapes for these definitely makes the whole area look really natural.
Oh, I love that big one in the middle.
With everything placed, I mapped out some pathways to connect everything up and added staircases and bridges to make all the areas accessible, while Steph began to light the village up with those stone lanterns that we made.
Wow.
We then added the Torii Gate in front of the Dragon Samurai temple, adding a large koi pond full of fish and a bamboo area for some very special residents. We finished the decorating with some boulders, flowers and grass covering the entire valley, before returning back to the temple to make way for our panda haven. We changed the biome in these areas to bamboo jungles and spawned some furry friends. I think this was Steph's favourite part of the entire project. I have to admit, these pandas are pretty cute. Also, did you guys know that they had different emotions and behaviours? And to finish up this area, we added the island's second dragon arena with an iconic yin and yang inspired symbol etched into the ground. This represents the bond the Talon clan shared with their dragons, and is a pretty stark contrast to the scenes found at the Fafnir clan's arena in the Taiga. I think you guys are going to love the lore in this area, and it may just involve the origins of Minecraft's Ender Dragon. And with that, you guys, the Snowy Mountains is complete. So, let's take a look at the biome.
That's all I got to say. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Epic. Man, that's so cool. My favorite part, though, is that village, the bonsai village. Tiger is cool. Man, look at that. It's alive. Minecraft is alive. So awesome. Got the cinematics, man. Yes.
I hope you guys enjoyed this transformation.
All right, we're going to stop him right there. Man, all I got to say, the only word, or just is wow. Wow, guys. I can't wait to play this. I've said it a million times, but I'm getting so excited. Coming October. Man, thanks for watching with me. I don't know if you've seen it already. If you're seeing it for the first time with me, this was amazing. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave me comments letting me know what you thought of this episode and all that stuff. And it's been so much fun. We'll see you on the next one. Have a good afternoon, good evening, good night. Peace.